Hi, Dion here. I've had a number of people ask how I write the stories for the comic Jim Reel Paranormal Investigator, so today's video will show you my exact steps to do that. You can read the final results by checking out the comic online via the link in the description below. Now, my approach is not what might be classified as the typical script writing style, like you would commonly see with a comic book script or a screenplay, but I have seen a few other artists use a similar method for what I'm about to show you. And the reason I use this method is because I'm an artist. I'm a very visual person, and comic books are a very visual medium. And I think if you've struggled with writing your own comics, this might be a solution for you too. So I'm going to use chapter 2 as an example. Each chapter or issue is 11 pages long. Keeping it to a specific length for each comic book issue ensures that I'm going to cut the fluff out and get to the specific point of what the issue's story is about. Each issue has a lot of action and suspense, so I really want the book to keep moving along at a fast pace. So with just a pencil and paper, I'm going to create these 11 thumbnail sketch-sized rectangles to represent each of the 11 pages for the story. Maybe even a few extra if I can't quite figure out where the story is going yet. I already have in mind things I want to say and actions that I want to take place, such as for page 1, it's the introduction to the story with our character. He's in this sort of meditation pose when all of a sudden he's attacked from above by this guy. We then learn that this is part of his training. At first you might think, phew, he can relax. This guy is not really going to kill him, right? Wrong. His master, Master Tatsu, is upping the stakes, and these creatures, referred to as onion heads, are deadly and will kill whoever the master sets them onto. And just to make the stakes higher, Jim Reel is unarmed. He doesn't have his sword with him this time to defend himself. The issue is designed to show the reader Jim's strengths and weaknesses that will play a role later in the book. I don't want to give too much away, otherwise it will spoil the fun. But by the conclusion of this issue, you're going to know why Jim is motivated to do what he does, and we're going to start the adventure. So knowing what it is I want the story to say, I can then, like a movie in my head, act out the scene, thinking about what are the best camera angles, what action needs to be drawn, and next to each little thumbnail that represents the page, I can write dialogue or notes to go with the panel. And yes, I am writing very small, but I find that the smaller the thumbnail sketch is, the more focus I have on composition and telling the story, rather than worrying about drawing details. But this does make the writing process very quick. Once I have the entire issue planned out, sketches, dialogue, and any other relevant notes, I switch to editing mode. I can start to look at things like pacing of the story or whether certain dialogue is relevant. For instance, this issue originally had this longer fight sequence, and although there was a lot of cool looking action to draw, it's not really going to help the story. So I'm able to make some notes with a colour pencil and cross out pages I don't think are needed, and move some dialogue or panels around and delete others from the story. If I need to, I can take it further and enlarge the thumbnail sketch, drawing it at roughly the final size as it would appear in a printed comic. This allows me to work out more specific ideas like shading, composition, and text placement. This all might seem like a lot of work before actually making the final comic page, but by actually plotting out your comic rather than just winging it page by page, you've given yourself a plan to work with and follow. That plan creates a direction for you and your character to follow that is going to lead to a better story, an easier story for you to write, and a more enjoyable story for your audience to read. I hope you found this method useful if you're thinking of writing your own webcomic but you've been feeling a bit stuck with how to go about it. Give it a try. And don't forget to check out the webcomic via the link below, and feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. Let's talk soon.